Okay, hello everyone and welcome. My name is Kate Domagola. I'm an admissions counselor here at Syracuse University. We are thrilled to have you with us here tonight for our Solving World Problems themed session. I'm going to just give it a few more moments before we dig in and get started to make sure everyone who's registered this evening can join us. It does take a brief minute for everyone to be able to click the link and join our Zoom meeting, but we're thrilled to have you with us. I'm joined here tonight by several of my esteemed colleagues who I'll introduce in just a minute. It is a balmy, about 96 degrees in Syracuse, New York. So hope wherever you're joining us from, whether it's in New York State or across the country or the globe, that you are staying cool like we're trying to do. And Glenn, we're really glad to have you with us tonight. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. So again, my name is Kate Domagola. I'm an admissions counselor here at Syracuse. And tonight we're excited to spend some time with you talking about our policy, government, and social justice areas of study here at the university. I am joined tonight by three of my colleagues at the university. So first, I'd like to introduce Iman Wilkinson. She's the undergraduate recruitment specialist within our College of Visual and Performing Arts. I'm also joined by Felicia Otero, who's our Director of Admissions within our Falk College of Sport and Human Dynamics. And last but not least, Chris Anderson, who is our Director of Graduate and Undergraduate Recruitment in our College of Arts and Sciences and our Maxwell School of Citizenship and Public Affairs. So excited to have all three individuals with us tonight, and they're going to be digging in just a minute with some information for you about their specific colleges and programs within them. Before we get started, I do just want to make a couple of housekeeping announcements. First is, if you have any questions throughout our session, we have a Q&A that is available at any point, so you don't need to wait till the end to ask us your questions. You can chat those in. My colleagues Mike and Camille are in the background ready to answer your questions, and they'll also be designating some as some common questions for our panelists to answer live at the end. So ask us your questions. We're excited to interact with you. And the second announcement is just, if you haven't already seen our virtual tour or our other virtual sessions on our website, I encourage you to check those out after our session tonight. We offer both a general prospective student information session multiple times a week, but also our schools and colleges have sessions throughout the week that dive deeper into their programs, and we have some current student panels for families and parents, so lots going on, and we're continually adding to our virtual offerings. Okay, so with that, if you are just learning about Syracuse University or just starting your college search process, I do want to offer a few details about Syracuse as an institution. So Syracuse is a large-sized university. We have about 15,000 undergraduate students, but we are separated into 10 undergraduate schools and colleges, several of which my colleagues are going to speak about tonight. So that kind of gives us the best of both worlds. You're going to have the resources of a large institution, but you're going to have the hands-on feel, and you're going to get to know professors and students in your programs and your majors to get that personal attention. So we combine both liberal arts opportunities with a professional school focus. So no matter what you're interested in studying, whether it's the policy, government, or social justice areas, or that appeal to you, or you're not quite sure yet, we have options for dual majors, double majors, adding a minor. We have over 200 majors and 100 minors, so really many choices at your fingertips today. In addition, we have an average class size of 26 and a 15-to-1 student to faculty ratio. So you are going to get to know your faculty members and the other students in your class and be able to make those important connections to move forward in your field of choice. We also offer pre-health and pre-law advising centers, and all of our students have academic advisors, faculty mentors, and career advisors housed in their home school or college. So I'm sure some of my colleagues will dig in more into that this evening, but I just want to mention a few things about Syracuse to pique your interest. So with that, without further ado, I'd like to hand it over first to Chris Anderson, who again is our Director of Graduate and Undergraduate Recruitment in our College of Arts and Sciences and our Maxwell School of Citizenship and Public Affairs.
All right, well, thank you, Kate. And I'm actually going to start off with a little bit of follow-up on some of the things that you shared. Hopefully everyone heard that at Syracuse University, there are 10 schools and colleges where students can earn a bachelor's degree. And sometimes it's a little bit confusing about why we mentioned the College of Arts and Sciences and the Maxwell School together. So I always like to clear that up right from the start. So at Syracuse University, we really feel like the liberal arts should include the humanities, the natural sciences, but also the social sciences. And the College of Arts and Sciences offers majors in the humanities and the natural sciences, and the Maxwell School offers majors in the social sciences. So those two schools are actually joined together on the undergraduate level. Many people are confused and think that the Maxwell School is just a graduate school, and that is definitely not the case. As you can see from the slide, there are 10 undergraduate majors offered by Maxwell. So I want to make sure we're trying to clear up any confusion about that, like I said, right from the start. But we are a really great place for any student interested in policy, government, social justice. All of the majors offered by the Maxwell School are geared toward making sure our students are becoming better citizens. And actually right in the Maxwell School, you can actually kind of see it here in the image in front of the Maxwell Auditorium. We have the Athenian Oath, which more or less says that we want to leave our community better than when we got it. So that's really a big part of what we're trying to do in the Maxwell School. Not only are we trying to take that approach from our side and trying to do that with the work that we're doing, but we're also trying to engage with other people to have them help us do that. And because of the approach that our faculty take and the curriculum they develop, what it's trying to accomplish, the strength of Maxwell is actually recognized nationally. So fortunately, the Maxwell School has been ranked #1 in the country in public affairs for a good portion of the time that I've worked at Syracuse University, and that's been over 15 years. And well before that, we traditionally beat out the Kennedy School at Harvard to be #1. We sometimes will tie with Indiana University. They have a very strong program. But if you're looking for an excellent program to make a difference in the world, then the Maxwell School is a great place. Now, all of these majors that we have on the list, they are meant to be taken within a liberal arts experience. So for those of you who are looking to learn more about some of the social issues that we have, you might learn more from some of our humanities majors, or maybe even possibly some areas in the natural sciences. And then in the Maxwell School, you'll figure out ways to actually solve some of the problems. So whether it's anthropology or citizenship and civic engagement, political science, or if you're interested in more global issues and international relations, we have many majors that might suit you. There's a lot of flexibility when it comes to the curriculum in arts and sciences in Maxwell. So if you are looking to mix and match many majors and many minors, we have lots of students who double major, even students who triple major. Believe it or not, we had a student this year, Derek, he did a quadruple major, and these students are graduating in the traditional 4 years or less. And so if you are interested in, say, international affairs, because you're interested in maybe, say, international security and diplomacy, but you're also interested in the policy component of it, you could very easily double major, learn about both, and take the information from both of those majors and try to apply them in the real world. Now, when it comes to real world experience, the Maxwell School has a lot of opportunities for that. Many internships right in the city of Syracuse. We do see students who go to other cities during the summer, perhaps New York or Los Angeles, Chicago, Boston. Those tend to be popular among many other cities. We do also see students who go to other countries. Now, sometimes those internships are related to the law. It is very helpful to get a degree from a law school if you want to make change to policy, you want to be involved with politics, or even if you just want to be familiar with how our system works in the United States. So if you're interested in law school, we do have a pre-law program. That pre-law program can be pursued with any major, any of the majors from Maxwell, but also any major at Syracuse University. Really important thing about law schools is that they don't require set courses that you absolutely need to take. So you can pick any major. There may be some core competencies that I want you to develop, and you can certainly develop those with courses in arts and sciences in Maxwell, but also in Falk, VPA, many other schools. But we also have a law school right at Syracuse University. So some students will stay at Syracuse for their bachelor's degree and their law degree. We also regularly have students who work in the district attorney's office. And right in Syracuse, we have a number of politicians who have offices, including our mayor's office. There are regional offices for U.S. senators like Senator Chuck Schumer, Kirsten Gillibrand, and we have students working in those offices pretty much every semester. I mentioned a few minutes ago the internships that we have. We have many students who choose to go to Washington, D.C. during their junior or senior year if they're majoring in the Maxwell School, where we have a program where those students will take 4 classes and then they are required to do an internship. Sometimes those internships are in some big name locations like the White House, the Pentagon, various locations around Capitol Hill. But if you do also have an interest in social justice, you don't have to go the traditional route when it comes to policy and government. We do have students who work for nonprofits, various think tank organizations, and if that's something that you might want to do, then that's certainly a great plan. Now, if you do have questions about any of these majors, I will defer those to the Q&A session because every time we do these sessions, we have students with different interests, and we don't want to go over things that might not apply to at least some students in the session. So again, if you do have any questions about any of these majors, I am an expert on all of these majors. Just let me know. One important detail that I'd like to share, and Kate's going to help me out with, we actually have a great set of videos on YouTube. We have a playlist that is dedicated to faculty conversations from the Maxwell School. These are relatively recent, within the last few months, and they address some really important topics happening right now related to COVID-19, related to the upcoming election, related to trade policies with China. So if you do have any interest in any of those topics, I highly encourage you to watch some of the videos there. There'll be some new ones coming out soon. I'm now going to talk a little bit about what the College of Arts and Sciences has to offer. Now, like I said, these colleges, Arts and Sciences and Maxwell, they're joined together. So if you have an interest in anything that's more formally on the policy side, the citizenship side of things, Maxwell probably is a great fit. But also, if you're looking to get to the root of some of these issues that we are encountering right now, African American studies, women's and gender studies, philosophy, religion, writing, these are all great majors to learn about how we can make the world a better place, understand our history, how we might want to change some policies, some things that are happening in our society based on things that have happened already. So if you're interested in learning about the history of women's suffrage in the United States, women's and gender studies is a great major for that. If you're interested in learning about moral theory and ethics and how that plays a role in our political system, philosophy offers that. Even though it's not on the slide, we do offer a political philosophy major, which kind of marries together philosophy and political science. We have many minors that are in these areas as well. So if you wanted to major in Maxwell and minor in Asian American studies or LGBT studies or Native American Indigenous studies, you could do that. You could also major in Bpa and Falk and do one of our minors. That's very common. We also see students majoring in arts and sciences and minor in all of the other schools. All of the other schools at Syracuse University have minors, and you can fit them in with pretty much any major you want in the College of Arts and Sciences and the Maxwell School. One thing I'd like to emphasize at the bottom of this slide is the interdisciplinary nature of the coursework that we have in Arts and Sciences and Maxwell. You have a lot of freedom. If you want to mix and match things in the natural sciences, in the humanities, in the social sciences, you'll have that opportunity while also being able to take some classes, perhaps do a minor, maybe even a second major in one of the other schools as well. We put a big emphasis on internships. Traditionally, we offer a lot of opportunities for study abroad. As you can imagine right now, there are some major challenges as a result of COVID-19, but I'm very confident that we'll be up and running again as soon as we can do so safely. And we see students going all over the world in the College of Arts and Sciences, again, with freedom to go where you might want to go, study what you want. And then finally, Syracuse University is an R1 research university, which is the highest level in the United States. You may not know this, but there are only 5 schools in the country that are private that do not have a hospital on their campus that are R1, and we are one of them. So there's a lot of opportunity for our undergraduates to really delve deep into a topic that you may be interested in. And you can do that through research with a faculty member. And then if you get developed enough, you might even be able to do some of your own independent research. And it's not just limited to science. We have these opportunities in the humanities, in the social sciences. And from our perspective, we don't think there's really anything more exciting than trying to discover something that no one else has discovered before. And that's exactly what research is. So if you're interested in research, again, we have great opportunities for that in policy, related to government, in social justice, and I hope this is a good introduction to what we have to offer in the College of Arts and Sciences in the Maxwell School. Like I said, if you have more questions, feel free to let me know, and I'll answer anything I possibly can during the Q&A session.
All right, thank you, Chris. So next, I'd like to turn it over to Iman Wilkinson, who is our undergraduate recruitment specialist in the College of Visual and Performing Arts, who's going to talk to you about our CRS program.
Hello, everyone. So, as Caitlin said, let's talk about our CRS program, like we like to call it here on campus, or Communication and Rhetorical Studies program. So this is a Bachelor of Science degree that covers all forms of human communication. So the number one requirement that all employers are seeking are communication skills. So CRS will pose the question that while we all communicate as humans, are we communicating effectively? So our students are really learning how to communicate clearly, effectively, and persuasively, which means that your voice will be heard and you will make a difference. So some of the core classes that our students can choose to take will range from presentational speaking, rhetoric, public advocacy, argumentation, interviewing skills, and writing. So the core classes can be utilized in a number of different fields and be applied to almost anything. The flexibility of the core curriculum for our students, they really help so that if our students want to double major or take on a number of minors, it's really possible for them to do that with the flexibility of the curriculum. So our CRS students have countless opportunities to pursue their passions for communication, solving world problems throughout campus and the world. So this major is really great if you have multiple interests that you want to pursue while you're on campus. We've seen our students intern at places like record labels. As Chris said, we've had students intern at judge's office and different things like that. So they've interned like political campaigns, a number of different places. As well as our students can choose to go to any one of our 6 world centers for studying abroad. Mainly our students would pursue the semester in Washington, DC. That's where they will study things like, public advocacy. Let's see, a few years ago, the group that went to Washington, DC, they actually got to meet and work with President Obama's speechwriter. So it just shows you that there's cool things happening in all of the study abroad programs, just depending on, like I said, what you wanted to do. You could study abroad at any one of the 6 world centers, so don't feel like you have to go to Washington, DC, if that's not really your thing. Now, I'd like to talk about some of our graduates. As you can see, our graduates will go into a number of successful careers ranging from politics, media, entertainment, law, business, advocacy, and education. So some notable alumni that I want to talk about, one of them is going to be Emmy. She's also a plus-size supermodel. So talking about solving world problems, Emmy actually created this program on campus. It's called Fashion Without Limits. So Fashion Without Limits was really started to promote the design in sizes 12 and up. And it's a part of our curriculum for our students in the fashion design major to make these pieces in sizes 12 and up. So like Emmy, she saw a problem within the industry that not a lot of sizes were being made after, maybe the size 8. So she created this program. Now our students are having to take it as a part of the curriculum. And it's cool that they have to take it as a part of the curriculum because it's said that fashion designers who don't design for the everyday average people, they're leaving about $6 billion on the table. So I like that she saw that problem and she saw a way to solve it for our students. All right, and then lastly, I want to mention one of our recent grads. Her name is Sarah Boogan. She graduated in 2019. So she interned with New York State Senator Chuck Schumer her last semester on campus. And she explained how the skills she gained from CRS played the primary role in helping her with talking to constituents and writing outreach letters to the community. So as you can see, our graduates go into a number of successful and diverse fields and careers. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Iman. Next up, I want to welcome again Felicia Otero, who's our Director of Admissions within our Falk College. So take it away, Felicia.
Thank you. Very glad to be here. It's been a while since I really got to talk to students, even though I can't see your face. This is the kind of thing that's the special part of our jobs, is working, mentoring, coaching, helping students try to figure out what are they going to do with their lives. And most of the time when students come to Falk College, they come because they saw something that sounded sort of interesting in the health area, in the helping profession area. And they come, they stop by, and they want to know more. So one thing I usually do when I talk to our students, our prospective students, is to say, you know what, some people tonight know what they want to do for the rest of their lives. And they've known it for a long time. And good for you. It's not everybody's that lucky. Because when you do know, if you know you want to be, working in policy and government, then you can better choose what kind of university, kind of a program. But most people who are 17 years old or 18 years old don't know what they want to do. That's more the norm than the sort of child who grows up at 5 years old, 10 years old, 15 years old, knows they want to be a doctor. So I figure those are the people that we'd like to work with the most, because we are a college that may be in a large university, but we operate as a small college. And we work with the families and the students who are thinking about, what do I want to do with my life? And so what we try to do is to get you to think about the end. Begin with the end in mind. If we know that you want to be a dentist, well, we can very clearly help you take steps back until you figure out what courses you should be taking in high school, what major you should be taking as a freshman, etc. So when we work with you, we try to help you figure out, what are you good at? What do you love to do? What are you passionate about? What makes time fly by? And try to figure out what kinds of jobs, titles, careers that are connected with that. So when our visitors come, they're usually a couple of different kinds of folks, but most of the common denominators would be, they say to me, Felicia, I'm not sure what I want to do, but I'm a people person, and I want to work with people, and I want to help others, and I want to make a difference. And I say, well, you came to the right place. There's a lot of different things that you can do. There's millions of different career titles that you can be researching on the Department of Labor website, for example. But what you want to try to do is hone in on some of the special things you already know about yourself. Those are the things I would say are the clues. Do you already have like a population in mind? You want to work with children? You want to work with teenagers? You want to work with the elderly? You want to work with people who have mental health issues? You want to work with people who are in prison, for example. So you think about populations, and you think about settings, and then you think about special issues, problems, social issues that you would like to address and make a difference in your life. And when you start pulling those career sorts of clues together, then you have a much better idea of what career titles are interesting to you and what criteria will that employer be looking at once you start looking for a job. When you figure that part out, you can work your way backwards until you know that you need to start with a major. So some of the majors that we have here at Syracuse University, there are over 200. So if you are interested in a helping profession, you're interested in a health related profession, then you probably are on the right track in terms of choosing SU. At Falk College, we have several programs you might never have even heard of, for example. What is food studies? For people who are interested in food and want to somehow make food part of their career plan, but they're not sure exactly what they want to do, we try to help you find out other things that you're interested in to pair them together. So interdisciplinary, interprofessional interests you have. Some people are interested in food and policy. Some people are interested in food and media, or some people are interested in food and nutrition. Whatever your interests are, that is sort of like the cafeteria plan, where you're trying to pick out 2 or 3 main things that you enjoy doing and try to find out what jobs are under that umbrella. So for our students in food studies, they may be interested in food. They love the idea that we have amazing facilities, commercial kitchens, cafes, real life hands-on experience right from the very first semester. And they're trying to find other things that they can do with it. If you're interested in advocacy work and policy, and you're interested in food, you might be interested in looking into some of the things that we have at Falk College for students interested in that particular area. This very special and unusual situation that we're in right now with COVID and being in quarantine has really brought out a lot of special issues that people never really thought about before. Chain management, supply chain management. I've heard that so many different times, but I never really knew what it meant until I started watching the news talking about supply chain management and food that is not getting to the right people. Where are all the supplies going to? So depending on what you're interested in, if you want food to be a part of it, we can help you figure out how to pull those two things or three things together. Our Human Development and Family Studies program is more of a psychology-based program. So if you're interested in people and you want to help others, you might be interested in working with children in a neighborhood center, in a preschool center, things that you can really take a lot of psychology classes and maybe pair that up with something over at Arts and Sciences, for example. Our students, every single one of our students have very significant internship and community service components as part of their 4 years at SU. So depending on what population you want to work with and what setting you want to work in and your social issue of choice, we can help you find experience in the community. We've been around a long time under a couple of different names, but we have, I would say, over 200 community partners where our students are going out into the community and either doing volunteer work, for credit work, or the actual capstone, senior capstone experience in an area that they're interested in. I'll skip over to social work because a lot of students who are interested in psychology and are interested in human development, they're also interested in doing mental health counseling, for example, or maybe they want to be a psychologist or a therapist of some sort, and they start off with a degree or a program or a major in something like human development or social work. Social work has a wonderful marketing sort of a twist to it because there's so many different settings that you can work in. You can start working with children in a neighborhood center and then end up working with individuals who are incarcerated and in a literacy program. So the great thing too about social work is you get to take all those fascinating psychology classes and you get to have a lot of hands-on experience. Our social work students in their senior year are required to do a field placement in the population setting that they're interested in. And that's 18 hours a week for an entire year. So when you graduate with not just a great liberal arts degree from a professional school in a professional program like social work, but you also graduate with a lot of experience. In that experience, no matter where you do that here at Syracuse University, those are the sort of things you're going to be talking about when you sit across from an employer in a job interview or maybe even an internship coordinator. They're going to say like, okay, well, they go to an SU, a great school. They're taking a lot of interesting courses, but what can they do for me? And one of the things Falk College really specializes in is taking what you learn in the classroom and helping you apply it in a real life setting. Because we know that you're looking for an education. Everybody does. That's why you go to college. But we know you're also looking into a career and you want to get a job when you graduate. And so does your mom and dad. So keep that in mind as you start going through the different options for majors and how they relate to a potential career. So public health is also a huge interest right now, especially going through, again, the COVID, the quarantine. What is epidemiology? What are, Dr. Fauci, who's the chief specialist there giving us all of our medical advice. How can you get involved in public health? Look on television, turn a computer on, pick up a magazine. You will see dozens and dozens and dozens of public health issues that you can say, you know what, I think I want to make a difference in this area. Every organization that has a special health-related goal or mission is looking for specialists. So if you're interested in curing health, let's say heart disease, you could be a heart surgeon and work on one person at a time, or you can work at the Heart Association and do community education, for example. You can work with children in schools who have literacy issues, lead poisoning, poverty, obesity. These are all public health issues. So as you go through the courses you take, your freshman year, your sophomore year, you're doing volunteer, you're doing community service, you're going to start being exposed to different settings, different populations. And with your career advisor, and at Falk College, every program has at least 1 or 2 internship coordinators to help you identify the places you want to try out for size, and for those that you want to do your formal internship placement towards the end of your the last 2 years of school. So social work and public health, closely related, as is human development. There's a lot of overlap in the classwork and a lot of flexibility so that you can take a second major or pick up a minor at one of the other schools or at Falk. All the programs we list at Falk have minors that are very closely associated with it. So for example, we have a nutrition major. We also have a nutrition minor. You can do public health and nutrition, or nutrition and food studies, or food studies and social work. So the other thing I'd like to just emphasize today is Falk College is called Falk College of Sports and Human Dynamics. It's a long name. It means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. One of the things that we want to try to emphasize to a group like you who are talking about social problems is that we're a perfect place to start looking around for a pre-health major. At Syracuse University, you don't have to have a specific major to be pre-health. If you want to be a doctor, a dentist, or you want to do research of some sort, you'll want to pick a major that is fascinating to you. It could be public health, could be nutrition, could be social work, and then you hook up with all the advisory programs that we have to make sure you take physics and calculus and organic chemistry, et cetera, et cetera. So when you think of Falk, think of helping programs and think also of pre-health. And then you'll have a pretty good idea of what you might be talking about when you come by virtually to visit us and talk to our academic advisors and our admissions people. A couple of quick points about those of you who know what you want to do, or you'd like to be on a fast path to the future. We have a couple of 4+1 programs. So the public health program has an accelerated program that in your sophomore year, if you decide, yes, public health is for me, then we'll talk to you about that 4-1 program so that you can graduate with a master's, all that experience, and 2 degrees from Syracuse University in 5 short years. The same thing is true with social work. The terminal credential for social work is MSW. And if you start off in social work and get your bachelor's in social work, a BSW, it only takes 10 more months to get the master's. And when I started at SU, I worked on the career end, which you might pick up clues that I'm very career oriented. And when I was on the phone with prospective employers, they would say, Felicia, you know, I need an MSW. So these are the kind of things you need to start looking at when you're picking out the future, your career, and how that university experience and major is going to work for you. A lot of things, as I've already mentioned, community practice, field placements. Every program is dedicated to social justice and social responsibility, and is going to find ways for you in your freshman year through your senior year of how to apply everything you've learned in the classroom to real life. And that's what we specialize in at Falk College. And I hope to hear from you again. Thank you.
Thank you, Felicia. Awesome. So at this point, we're going to migrate. I'm going to pull up the Q&A box and see if I can delegate some questions. Before I do so, though, I did want to mention, and Felicia talked about it a little bit, our pre-health advising office, and we also have a pre-law advising office. And I was wondering, Chris, if you wanted to just give a brief overview, since I think we might have some questions crop up about those offices.
Yeah, sure. So the College of Arts and Sciences and the Maxwell School, we have a great advising office. And as part of that office, we have pre-health advisors who service, and pre-law advisors as well, who service the entire university. So you certainly can major in anything you want. You can major in arts and sciences, Maxwell, Bpa, Falk, many other schools. You can go on to dental, medical, vet, pharmacy schools. You can go on to law schools. And ultimately, what you need to do is be academically successful. Build a strong resume. In most cases, perform well on an entrance exam. For medical schools, it's the MCAT. For dental schools, it's the DAT. For pharmacy schools, it's the PCAT. And then for law schools, it's the LSAT. And so our pre-health and pre-law advisors, they'll help you map out your courses, They'll make sure you're preparing well for all those entrance exams. They'll help you make connections to get experience on your resume, whether it's in the 4 hospitals right across the street from our campus, one of which has a dental clinic there, whether it's in a local pharmacy or in an office related to the law. With the big difference between pre-health and pre-law is that with pre-health, there are certain courses you absolutely need to take to get into medical, dental, vet, and pharmacy school. Those would be general biology, general chemistry, organic chemistry, physics, calculus. All of those are offered by the College of Arts and Sciences. So you'd have to have at least some coursework in arts and sciences to gain admission to medical, dental, vet, and pharmacy schools. But you can fit those courses in with any major. So many of our students will choose to major in biology or chemistry or biochemistry. But just 2 years ago, we had a student, Alana. She majored in international relations. She fit in all the pre-health prerequisites, and she's currently at Case Western Medical School becoming a doctor. A few years before that, we had a student, Alec. He majored in writing. A few years ago, I talked with a student who majored in health and exercise science, and he wanted to become an orthopedic surgeon, and that's the pathway he went on. So for pre-health, like I said, you can major in anything you want. You just have to fit in certain courses. For pre-law, it's a little bit more flexible. You can major in anything you want. There aren't certain classes you have to take. You just have to have some core competencies, strong GPA, perform well on the LSAT. And that's a quick 3-minute overview of pre-health and pre-law. All of our pre-health and pre-law advisors will give you one-on-one advising. Like I said, you'll have certain opportunities to get involved in the local community, preparation for the entrance exams. And I think those are the main points that are important to start off with. If you'd like to learn more, just let me know.
Awesome, thanks. We also have a YouTube playlist for our admissions office, and I believe our pre-law and pre-health information sessions from this past spring are up there for people who want to really deep dive into those topics now. So again, we're going to start with our Q&A, and if you haven't had a chance to ask us your question, feel free to chat in those. There's still time. So I'm going to take the first question here, which is from Thayer. Can you take classes across schools? For example, can I be a double major with one major in the arts and sciences school and another at the Maxwell? So I think we've touched on this a little bit, but Chris, I'm going to hand this one off to you since they're talking about your 2 schools right there.
Oh, yeah. So we certainly have students who do exactly what you just asked about. You know, we had a student, Mia, she graduated about 1.5 years ago. She actually graduated in 3.5 years rather than 4. And she double majored in African American Studies and Women's and Gender Studies in Arts and Sciences, and then had her 3rd major in Maxwell in Citizenship and Civic Engagement. So certainly you could absolutely do that. You can even do that across some schools. So we have these programs called dual programs and combined programs, where you can actually have a major in, say, Arts and Sciences, and then also do a major in the Newhouse School of Public Communications or the School of Education. Falk and Bpa have some dual programs as well. So the answer to your question is, yeah, that's totally doable, no problem.
Awesome. A related question we had is, what's the difference between a dual major and double major? So Chris just mentioned it just now, but dual major is 2 programs in different colleges at Syracuse, and a double major would be within the same college. Great question. Okay, next question I'm seeing, I'm gonna hand this one over to Iman. Can you double major with performance, drama, musical theater within BPA and one of the majors within Maxwell? So another double dual major question here.
Great question. So performance drama is going to be a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree. Our BFA degrees, they kind of differ from the Bachelor of Science degrees, meaning that you're going to be spending more time in your studio-based classes with a BFA degree. So it's kind of hard to double major and finish within the 4-year requirements. If you know that you are coming in and you want to pursue a BFA degree as well as double majoring, you would have to kind of have a conversation with your academic advisor very early on so that they can plan out that process for you. But I would say about 90% of our students just do their BFA and a couple of minors. We don't get a lot of double majors just because of how time intensive the BFA can be.
Awesome, thank you. We have another question here. Felicia, I'm wondering if you would take this one. When do students typically declare their major?
Well, that's a great question. You need to declare your major generally in your sophomore year or before if you already know what you want to do. Some students apply to Syracuse University as an undeclared student, for example, and they come right out and say, you know, I'm 17, I don't know what I want to do yet, but I'm going to come to Syracuse and I'm going to start in this particular college. They can do that at Arts and Sciences. They certainly can do that at Falk College. And then you can take advantage of all the resources that we have across the university and within the colleges to help you figure out what to do between the day you arrive and the day you need to declare your major officially. So usually students are doing that at the beginning of their sophomore year, give or take a semester.
Well, that's kind of differs from BPA because you have to apply directly to a major within BPA. So each class has their like different things that you'll have to look out for on the application.
That's true. And let me just follow up. One of the things we see at our college all the time are students who change majors. And I'm pretty sure across the country, there's at least half the students who ever go to college change their major at least once. And so because we know that, we're working with our students closely with the resources that we've been talking about to help you do that. In some cases, it's a cinch. It's a matter of saying like, well, you know, I want to change from social work to psychology. So I'll send them over to talk to Chris in Chris's department to talk to psychology students. And it might be a little bit easier than to say, like, if you wanted to go from psychology to biology or something, or maybe even, let's say, for us, sport is a huge program. So trying to get into a program that has only so many seats might be a little bit more challenging, but there are rules and guidelines, and we can show you step by step how to do that. So as I say, go back to my usual conversation with families is pick the right university and make sure it has many choices for you because you're probably going to change your mind.
Awesome. Thank you both for that. We have a couple questions coming in about study abroad. So this one asks, can you tell us more about study abroad, especially the ones in the Middle East? So I'm wondering, Chris, if you might want to tackle that one first. Another question related, how long do students typically study abroad for?
Yeah, well, I think it might be easier to address the second question first. So it's most common to see students study abroad for a full semester, but we do have semester options, we have summer options, we have part-time options, we have short-term options. There's all sorts of options for study abroad. And at least in Arts and Sciences and Maxwell, we see the most popular semester being the spring of junior year. But we have options for every single semester from the very first through what we call our discovery programs. We traditionally offer those in Florence, Italy, Madrid, Spain, and Strasbourg, France. So that would be great for students who might have traveled a lot already and want to do it right off the bat when they go to college, or they know they want to study abroad multiple times over the course of their 4 years. As far as the Middle East is concerned, we have a number of world partner programs there, and there are various locations. For many years, a while back, we had a location in Turkey, but that had been discontinued just in the interest of our student safety. But certainly there are a number of programs in the Middle East, depending upon what you might want to study, say international relations or modern foreign languages or some other major. You could find classes that apply right to your major in the Middle East. Sometimes students will go there with the intention of simply working on liberal arts courses and learning more about the Middle East. So there's certainly options in the Middle East, and you could pretty much go anytime after your first year. We don't have any first year programs in the Middle East right now, but sophomore, junior, or senior year, those would be viable options for certain.
Awesome. Next question, I'm going to hand over to Felicia. How soon can you start a field placement? So you talked a little bit about field placements. When can you do those?
Okay, so let's just talk terminology for a minute. When you go out into the community and you work and you apply what you learned in the classroom, there's a bunch of different ways that you can define that. We call it community service, volunteer work, internship, or field placement. So at Falk, field placement is referred to as the social work senior year experience, 18 hours a week. The others we usually call internships, or maybe a capstone experience, but they're all pretty much the same. So for social work, as I say, that's a senior year experience. The internships are generally a junior or senior year, because what you want to try to do is first focus yourself. What do I really want to do? And what major goes with that? Because I need to build some credentials and some experience and something to talk to my prospective employers about in the interview. And so generally, you will do volunteer community service your first year, and then second year, you might be able to do independent studies or community service work that will get you some credit based on some connection to a course.
Excellent. Okay, next question is from Hayden. And Iman, I'm wondering if you would take this one. Is it common for students to double major in CRS and political science?
Great question, and it is very common. So as Chris said, lots of our students will double major in arts and sciences or political science if that is in Maxwell, is the field that they want to go into. So they'll take the communication skills that they learn in CRS and kind of just apply it into the other majors that they're interested in. So political science is a very, a lot of choices that we see often. So yes.
Great. Okay, another question about a particular program. So Chris, this might be for you. If I have a dream of studying biochemistry, how can Syracuse help me achieve that?
Well, the first step would be having you apply and checking the box for biochemistry in the application, because we have a formal biochemistry major. So provided you're competitive for admission, we can get you started in the program and first determining if biochemistry is the right fit for you by having you take the classes. So I think many students come in and they think biochemistry might be a good fit for them, and then they prefer the chemistry side, or they actually like the biology side more, and our flexibility allows them to maybe switch from biochemistry to one or the other. But if a student finds that they actually truly enjoy both, then they would simply continue to take coursework in both and then connect with professors and decide if they want to go on to graduate school, go right into the workforce, and whether or not research is going to be a part of their undergraduate experience. So we had a student last year, Ismail. He was a biochemistry major. He was involved with research looking at Alzheimer's, and then he switched over to another lab that was looking at neurodegenerative diseases. So that was really great experience for him, because he knew he wanted to go on to medical school, and having that research on his resume really put him in a great situation. So certainly the faculty connections, the mentorship that we have, that can help you support your dream. I think sometimes people think of science and they think it could be really difficult and challenging and hard to earn a degree in a science major, which it can be, but we as a private university have lots of resources for tutoring, have lots of teaching assistants, and whose their primary goal is to just make sure that you're successful in the class. They're not teaching the classes, they're not leading the lectures, they are supporting students in the research labs and offering free tutoring sessions. So first of all, go ahead and apply and select biochemistry. You'll have a student peer mentor who will help you. You'll have faculty mentors who will help you. And then there will be alumni members who will also help you as well. We have people who come to campus all the time who talk about science, who talk about their careers, and they can help you get a foot in the door, whether it's an internship, going on to graduate school, or getting that first job. So hopefully that's helpful. If you'd like to be connected with a current biochemistry student, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be happy to connect you so you can hear from them what their experience is like.
Thank you. And Chris, I'll keep you on the line here. Question from Isabella about pre-law and majoring in pre-law or political science. So if you could talk about what you recommend for that.
Yeah, and that brings up a good point. So pre-health and pre-law, those are not majors. They are special programs to complement any existing major that we have. So you can add those special advising programs on with any major, including political science, and you could enter those interests right in the application. There is a spot for that, so we know you're thinking about pre-health or pre-law. And then the advisors will make sure that you have a well-rounded transcript, well-rounded curriculum. And if you want to major in political science, you want to dabble in something else along the way, no problem. You could certainly be part of the pre-law program that we have without majoring in pre-law. There are very few schools that actually offer a law degree on the undergraduate level. Some schools call them like legal studies, but that isn't really a great preparation for law school. And the acceptance rates for those programs are much lower than what you'd see at a school like Syracuse University that have the typical pre-law program to complement any major you want. So I hope that helps. If you need more detail, just let me know.
Excellent. Okay, this is a question that I'm going to offer up to all of you. If you have a comment on it, please feel free to chime in. If a student chooses to pursue a double major, do they typically graduate in 4 years? So maybe if each of you could offer a couple examples of some common double majors within your school or college and what those students are up to now. And Felicia, would you start for us?
So the short answer is yes, you can double major and graduate in 4 years. Of course, it depends how much you want to work and how many credits you start off with. A lot of our students start off with a significant number of AP credits, or they took a community college class, or they do over the summer instead of hanging out at the beach, whatever. So it depends on the particular situation, but I know, let's say, maybe a student who's interested in, let me try to think. Well, I know one of the programs that we have, we're not talking about it today, but sport, for example, and computers go together. People in public health and business could go together. Some of them are easier to do. And that's why whatever you're thinking about, you need to bring that to the college, to the university, and talk to those academic advisors who know all the programs across the campus. When you go to the faculty know their program inside and out. But the academic advisors know all the programs, and they can give you some very good ideas about how much work it would be and how to kind of integrate 2 majors into 4 years successfully.
Thank you. And Iman, would you want to offer up any double majors or dual majors from Bpa?
Yes, so specifically for CRS, yes, our students can double major or even triple major just because of the flexible curriculum. I've seen students double major in poli-sci and business, just depending on what they had an interest in. I also, like I spoke about Sarah, she was a CRS major and she also double majored in poli-sci, and she also went on to law school after graduation. So it's definitely possible, and they will finish within 4 years. And like I said, if you venture into the BFA category, they will kind of get a little bit tricky, but with a Bachelor of Science, definitely it is possible.
Chris, any thoughts, final thoughts there on this question?
Oh yeah, there are too many combinations in arts and sciences and Maxwell to list. You can pretty much combine anything you want from our list of 50 plus majors. But to get to the root of the question, it should be no problem double majoring and graduating in 4 years if you enroll in arts and sciences at Maxwell, provided you take your academic studies seriously. So we see about half of our students, actually more than half of our students double majoring. 3/4 of our students will either double major or have 1 major and at least 1 minor. I mentioned earlier we have students who've been able to triple major and even quadruple major. Sometimes that scares some people. Don't feel like you have to do that. If you have 1 major that you are really passionate about and you don't want to double major, for the most part, that's okay. We actually do have some majors that require a second major, so that's important to know. But real quickly, the College of Arts and Sciences in Maxwell, we require 120 credits to graduate. Our humanities majors and social sciences majors are usually around 30 credits, and science majors are around 50 credits. So if you're doing 2 majors that are 30 credits each, that's 60 credits. You need 120 credits to graduate. So you still need to do 60 more credits, even after double majoring. So don't think that if you're double majoring, that means you have to do double the amount of credits to graduate. You just have to do the same number of credits to graduate and fit in whatever majors and minors you want into that time frame. So I hope that's helpful, not more confusing. Feel free to send follow-ups my way.
Great answer there. Okay. Next question is, are there resources in Maxwell that help students get internships? So Chris, keep you on the line here, but Felicia and Iman, if you want to chime in about internships in your schools and colleges as well, that'd be great.
Yeah, so we actually have, our advising office is an integrated advising office. They do academic and career advising. So we make sure students are finding out about internships, polishing up their resume, developing their cover letters. And the fact that the Maxwell School is ranked #1 in the country, many of our students have multiple options for internships, either right in the city of Syracuse during the fall or the spring, and then in other locations when they're going to different cities in the summer, or even when they're studying abroad. We actually have locations in London and Strasbourg, France, where there are internships built right into the study abroad programs. And then even in some of our majors, like political science and international relations, they have a course that you enroll in junior, senior year, and it's called Local Internship. And they give you a list of about 30 different internship opportunities. You will have to call or email the internship coordinator. And as long as you land one of those internships, you remain enrolled in the class. So there are academic options. There are various networking opportunities. We actually have a program where we'll bring students to New York City called the Winston Fisher Seminar. We have a program where we'll bring students down to Atlanta. This is not just for Maxwell, across arts and sciences in Maxwell, but many students find opportunities in the Maxwell areas by going on these excursions off campus. So yeah, internship connections, there are plenty of them. Actually, the Maxwell School, they list all of the internships that our students have done in Washington, D.C. through the special program that I mentioned, going back to 2009. So over 10 years of internships on that website. If you need a link to that website, just let me know and I can send that to you.
Thank you. Iman, any thoughts on internships within VTA or CRS?
So similar to what Chris said, we do have an Office of Student Success. Within our Student Success Office, we have academic advisors and career counselors. So the career counselor is going to be there to help you find internships and postgraduate opportunities as well. So you'll work with them. And our career counselors kind of serve as the conduit to our alumni network. So I don't know if you guys heard, but there is something called Orange Mafia. Our alumni are really looking out for our students and seeking our students. So our career counselors kind of serve as the conduit between our students and helping them get into those internships with our alumni as well. There is a online platform called Handshake, where we do have lots of different internships listed for our students to go on and look at the internship. So a couple of different ways. We also have a faculty advisor. So a faculty advisor is going to be kind of someone who knows you more personally. So they will also tell you about internships that they think that you would be a good fit for. So lots of different ways to get an immersion internships.
Excellent. And Felicia, any final thoughts there?
Sure. Well, we also have the career component, the academic advisors, faculty advisors. But because applying what you learn in the class from the classroom out into the community is so essential to Falk College, we also have an extra layer. They're called Internship Coordinators, and they all are in the individual department. So if you're interested in public health, there are public health internship coordinators, and their only job is to help guide you in the very beginning, when you're first getting started, all the way through your senior year where you do your major capstone or field placement in a setting that you choose. So between all those resources, you have no excuse to say, I don't have any experience. You're going to graduate with a degree from an awesome university, and you're going to have lots of experience too. So make sure you take advantage of all of it.
Thank you. Okay, we're running down on our questions here. One more is, what is majoring in a language like at Syracuse? So Chris, wondering if you would tackle that one and talk a little bit about the options available to students with languages.
Sure. We offer full majors in a number of languages, including French, Spanish, Italian, Russian, German, a handful of others. And typically those majors, they're a mixture of developing your proficiency in that language, but also learning about culture and literature related to those languages. So usually those majors are somewhere around 30 credits, similar to most of our humanities majors. A portion of the credits will be dedicated to the language. A portion will be dedicated to literature and culture. And we do find, like with most of our majors, a lot of our students will double major, perhaps majoring in international relations and then pairing that with a major in a foreign language. Typically students, if they come in with no experience in a foreign language, they start at the basic level 101. If you come in with experience in the language, we'll have you take the placement exam, and you could potentially place out of the introductory coursework and go right into some advanced coursework. There is research related to language, both specifically to particular languages and then linguistics in general. And we have a professor, Taj Bhatia, and he's a language professor. He teaches Arabic and a few other things, but he also has been in his professional realm involved with code breaking with the FBI and CIA. So some cool connections there. And there are some really great interdisciplinary options when it comes to language. But hopefully that's enough to kind of give you a sense of what it's like studying a major, some language, some literature and culture, and then maybe pairing it with something else. And of course, fitting in studying abroad, someplace where they speak that language.
Excellent. Thank you. And thank you to all of our panelists for those answers to our students' questions. So we are nearing, it's just turned 8 o'clock, so we're running short on time here, but I do want to put up everyone's contact information here. So thank you to all of you who joined us tonight from across the country, across the globe, wherever you are tuning in from. Chris, Iman, and Zach's email's up here, but Felicia and Zach work closely together, so feel free to email them. And Camille has also typed in the chat our general admissions office email and phone. So if you have any questions that weren't answered here today, please continue to reach out to us. We're eager to interact with you and assist you in your research process. Again, the link in the chat for the Maxwell internship list and the Maxwell faculty conversation series are there for you. And again, we're looking forward to connecting with you. We have plenty of other virtual information sessions and theme sessions coming up. So if you have questions or a specific area of interest, we're eager to see you again soon. So thanks to all of our panelists, Felicia, Iman, and Chris. Thanks to all of our attendees, and go Orange.
Go Orange.
Hey everyone, have a good night.
Thank you.